All right, let's talk through number 7 and 8. And here, most teams, I think, miss both of these. I might be overstating that, but I think I'm right about that. Anyway, let's take number 7. And the way we think about this is as follows. I'm moving instead of writing. There we are. Let's draw the market for Olympics tickets and price. Doesn't matter what the price was. There's this downward sloping demand curve and this upward sloping supply curve. Probably I should draw it vertically, but because there's a fixed amount of seating. But either way, the upward slope is not going to lead us to a different answer. Now the market clearing price would be, let's call it P naught, and the market clearing quantity would be Q naught. And here, at the market clearing price, everybody that wants to buy a ticket, everybody that's willing to pay more than that market clearing price gets a ticket. And people that aren't willing to pay that market price or higher don't get a ticket. And the price serves this rationing function. People that have a high willingness to pay get it. People with a low willingness to pay don't. All right? So now, for various reasons, and it might be just equity, right? Maybe the Olympics that are usually a public entity don't want to gouge or don't want to be perceived as selling tickets to the event only to rich people. So anyway, for whatever reason, there's a price lower than the market clearing price set. We see rock bands set this for their concerts, so people sleeping out, it creates this illusion of really a lot of excitement. More people want to see this band than can. You should be their fan too. And also, there's an argument that they price the entrance lower so that excitement feeds sales for CDs and T-shirts and MP3 downloads, etc. So they're taking a loss on the concert ticket sales, or not making quite as much as they might, but they're getting more in related products. Anyway, at this price lower than the market clearing price, notice that Q1 tickets are demanded, but only Q2 tickets are supplied. So there's that's the problem. So this is the situation. And notice what else is in a market system. We have to have both a willing buyer and a willing seller to have a sale made. In a command economy like the former Soviet Union or Cuba, maybe China in some sectors still, but more sectors several decades ago, the state can come along and say, hey, you're going to sell it to us at a low price, and command you to do that. But in a market economy, you would have to be willing to sell before somebody could take the good from you. There's some exceptions. Eminent domain, a government has that power, but it's fairly seldom that that's exercised, and there would be a mass protest if that such power were exercised frequently for without a very, very good reason. All right, so let's see which of these statements is true. There will be excess demand. Okay, that looks right. Yeah, Q1 demanded, Q2 supplied. There's more demanded than are supplied. Bingo, 1 is correct. There will be excess supply. No, quite the opposite. Both those things, by the way, couldn't be true at the same time. So 2 is wrong. Some mechanism other than price will ration the good. Absolutely. If you're not going to let price ration the good, so we have a price lower than the market clearing price, well, that means notice that some people are willing to pay a lot, some people are willing to pay a little. There isn't a price mechanism sorting out who gets it and who doesn't based on willingness to pay that market price. So anytime we have the situation of excess demand, some other mechanism is going to be used to ration the good. We'll see that to the extent we talk about healthcare. That's a big issue in healthcare. So oftentimes this is who's willing to wait in line. So it's waiting time that rations the item in question. The organizers of the London Olympics used a lottery system, just drew numbers and picked people that got the tickets that way. So if Q1 were 1 million and only 300,000 tickets existed, well, then your probability of winning a ticket in the lottery would be 0.3, right? 300 million supplied, but a whole million demanded. So anyway, some other mechanism is going to have to decide who gets it and who doesn't if we set a price below the market clearing price. All right, which of the following rents, this is now on to 18, which of the following rents will not be eliminated by rent-seeking actions of other economic agents in the economy? All right, let's go through these. Innovation rent, where firms make positive economic profits from a new invention. Well, we saw that those might last for a while, but other firms imitating the innovator will drive those rents out of existence. So we saw that that isn't those rents are going to be driven away. Speculative rent, where profits are made by correctly betting on the price changes in a bubble. If I want to bet on, say, some set of prices in the economy being too high, that in the future they're going to tumble, I can enter into a futures contract. Somebody that's much more confident in the high price is going to say, that sucker Phil Reuter, he wants to enter an agreement to pay even a higher price in the future, or what would I do? I'm sorry. I'd the way to take advantage of falling prices, I would sell a contract to sell the price in the future. So let's say the stock was going for $100 a share this period. If I thought that stock was overvalued, I'll just enter into a futures contract saying, I'll sell you that stock in a month's time at $100. And somebody that thought, the stock's going up, I'll lock in on that price. Well, if I'm right that the stock price is going to tumble, let's say in a month the stock price is 50. Well, I've got this contract where somebody has to pay me $100 for that stock. So that's a rent from betting correctly. But is that rent going to stay around? No. As the signs are clear that stock is tanking, nobody's going to enter into that contract. Everybody that has the stock is going to be selling the stock, and the futures price is going to be much, much lower. And the actions of people trying to do the best they can are going to wipe out those rents. So as information becomes more clear, that opportunity is going to be dissipated in the economy. Hindsight is 20/20. To make money in speculation, you have to put your money down early, and sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. All right, subletting one's apartment after a demand increase in a rental market that is not subject to rent control policy. Well, here, if there's this demand increase, prices go up in the rental market, I have a easy time going back and moving in with my parents. I've got this long-term lease on this apartment that's now worth much more. I can rent that out and make some money. But over time, what's going to happen at those high prices, there's going to be a supply response, right? Builders are going to say, oh, wow, I can make rents. I can make more money renting out apartments. We see it all over Forest Grove right now. There's about 400 units in Forest Grove about to come online because the rents in Forest Grove have been so high. Over time, people trying to make money supplying rental housing are going to drive those rents, the possibility of those rents away. So C is wrong too. Now, D is something we learned last module, and you can't just forget what we learned in the module. Remember that because the contract is incomplete, that we can hire a worker, but we can't force that worker to put out maximum effort. Because of that situation, we're going to have to allow the employed person to have some economic rent, so they're willing to put out effort. They're afraid to lose that job, so we have to, because they'd be back to their reservation wage. The fear of being let go if they didn't put out effort needs to be present to get that effort in our labor discipline model, so that in the equilibrium employment situation there is unemployment, so that we can pay our workers a little bit better than their reservation wage to make them fear for being fired and work hard. So, and that rent won't be dissipated, and that rent exists because of the problem of the incompleteness of the contract. I can't specify terms in the contract adequately to make sure that people work as hard as they can, or even at 60-70%. It's very difficult. So that's the one we know from our studies in Module 4 that those rents won't be dissipated. So D is our answer.